and welcome. My name is Dave Coplin, and it's my absolute pleasure to bring you this fabulous conversation on behalf of Huawei and their incredible Seeds of the Future program. Every year, for the last 10 years, Huawei has selected some of the best and brightest students from the world of engineering, computer science, mathematics, and provided them with a once-in-a-lifetime experience, hardwiring them directly into the incredible innovation and inspiration being created by Huawei and the technology industry in China. For 4 weeks, the students get to immerse themselves not just at the epicenter of innovation of Shenzhen, but also in traversing thousands of years of Chinese culture in Beijing to gain a unique perspective that connects the past through the present to the future. From learning Mandarin and walking the Great Wall to Huawei's campus and the bustling electronics markets of Shenzhen, the students are immersed in a range of experiences that seek to broaden their horizons and ambitions and help them prepare for their future careers. And it's the future that drives the program for Huawei. Their goal is to help cultivate young talent, building on their enthusiasm and ambition and opening their eyes and minds to new experiences and new technologies and new possibilities. It's an incredible program that seeks to blend technical excellence and innovation with cultural awareness, and in recognition of the deeply digital, connected world that's emerging ever quicker as we dive deeper into the 21st century. But look, that's enough from me. Let's hear from the people that have experienced it all firsthand. Let's meet our seeds of the future. First up, we have Jess Tudyk. So Jess, welcome, Jess. Thanks so much for joining us. Could you just briefly introduce yourself, but also give us the one thing, the best thing that you felt about the Seeds of the Future program?
So, hi, I'm Jess. I'm a fourth-year mathematician at Oxford, and I went on the Seeds programme last year.
Give us the one thing, the best thing that you felt about the Seeds of the Future programme.
I think my favourite thing about the programme was definitely going to Shenzhen and just seeing the amount of innovation occurring. And the city was just so vibrant, and seeing all of the technology and how quickly the city is developing and how excited everyone is about digital and tech and innovation in total.
And next, joining us all the way from Tokyo, where he's now working, is Laurie Kate. Same question for you, Laurie. Tell us a bit more about yourself and your favourite part of the experience.
Hey, sure. Nice to meet you guys. I'll give you my brief, quick story. I grew up in Devon originally, and I studied computer science at the University of Nottingham and took part in Seeds for the Future all the way back in 2017. Yeah, I think for me, my favourite thing was Shenzhen, just really feeling the energy. And I think I loved Huawei very generously, showed us around some different startups. And for me, seeing that kind of entrepreneurialism was really amazing.
That's great. Thanks, Laurie. And finally, we've got Marcus Denton. Thanks for joining us, Marcus. Tell us a bit more about yourself and your favourite Seeds of the Future experience.
So hi, I'm Marcus Denton, and I've just recently graduated with a mathematics degree. I think the first thing I would say that comes to my mind that was probably the most exciting would be just being able to travel between Beijing and Shenzhen. So being able to see the cultural sides as well as the innovative sides of the Huawei headquarters.
And one of the things I think has really been well thought through by Huawei was this desire to blend both the technology, which obviously is where Huawei is at, but also this sense of the importance of culture and understanding, the broader picture of where Huawei come from. So with that in mind, Laurie, tell us, how did you find the cultural side of the experiences of your trip?
For me, it was certainly absolutely fascinating to get a glimpse into Chinese culture and the technology side, obviously, as well, but they're certainly interlinked. I mean, I think wherever you are, the history has a big influence on where we've arrived. But I think there's so much to learn and explore. It's a really great experience.
That's great. And Jess, what about you? What was your cultural highlight of the trip?
I think my cultural highlight was definitely going to the Great Wall of China, just because that's what you think of when you think of China, or certainly what I thought of before I went. So actually getting to go there ourselves, and we got to ride up in a sky shuttle and toboggan down, and that was great. But also something I really liked was just getting to immerse ourselves in the culture. So we had a week of Mandarin lessons at the Beijing Language and Culture University, where we learnt Mandarin, and as part of that we got to do a lesson where we spoke to some Chinese students who were learning English, and getting to speak to them about their university experience, practicing English with them, and then we all sang a song, which was all really lovely, and that was really fun to actually get to speak to people our age who have grown up in China and in the culture.
That's great. That's great. And Marcus, what about you?
Funny enough, I would say that is the same. Mine would be the same as Jess. So that would be the Beijing Language and Cultural University. I really enjoyed having a week of Mandarin lessons. Although they were like the preliminary stages of Mandarin, it was very exciting to be able to learn about the language and all the different tones involved and how difficult and complex it is, as well as being able to talk to the sort of local students and sort of share experiences as well. But not to mention the Great Wall of China, which is one of the peaks of the trip for myself, and the toboggan down, which I was able to sort of get the footage of all the way down for the whole 4 minutes.
Technology is clearly the beating heart of Huawei. What was it like in Huawei's headquarters? What's that feeling like?
Yeah, I mean, the Huawei HQ is hard to put into words. It's a really vast complex, I guess. But we spent a lot of our time in some labs getting into some, I guess, mobile network is kind of the base station, filled with like the base station equipment, and setting up like a test mobile network, which was really interesting. And by the end of it, we were able to send like a text message using our own mobile network. And that was really incredible. Like, actually, for me, one of the reasons I got into computer science was like I grew up near Cornwall, where I remember when I was younger, we visited like a satellite station run by BT. And it really struck into me like how important like networks and communications, I mean, it's a bit cliche to say they bring people together, but fundamentally, that's what it comes down to. And I think it's really, really fascinating to be able to get so up close to that technology.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with you more. And I think the incredible thing about the timing of your trips is 5G, right? I mean, in terms of the great advances that really propel us further forward with what we can do with technology, I sort of think of things like, there's the digital microprocessor, there's the internet, and I think 5G is, and I know it's, just connectivity, but to have that kind of connectivity at that scale with that kind of penetration, oh my God, it's going to change the capability. So how amazing that you could be there at that time to see some of that stuff being developed. Jess, what about you? What sort of what were the technical lessons like? What were they lectures? Were they lessons? How did that work out?
So the lessons themselves, so we had this big booklet of lots of content, and then we had a teacher who would teach us from the front of the classroom, go through some slides and would tell us all about the many acronyms involved, and there was a massive acronym list at the back of the book. We just had so much content to get through in a week. It was just like, wow, there's so much to learn. We got to configure a 4G base station and then also a 5G base station. And that was really fun to actually feel like we'd got to do that ourselves.
Marcus, now I hear you're quite taken with the R&D centres and the offices on your trip. Can you tell us a bit more about those?
Oh yes, so we were able to visit sort of the R&D center where they produce the mobile phones, which was quite fascinating, because I didn't believe that we would be able to see that sort of thing, but it was great to see the sort of the P30s, etc., being produced.
The thing that I've heard about the office, and actually Shenzhen in particular, is you kind of feel like you're living in the future. Was that sort of the sense that you got, Marcus, while you were there?
Oh yeah, most definitely, because the campus was so large, I couldn't comprehend how large it was. So being able to sort of move between sites, especially where the sort of lectures were held, it was very different. And there was something called the Huawei University, and that's where the lectures took place, as well as having many different restaurants and places to eat. But the research and development side was very different, and the offices where we were based for the lessons were also quite different, as we saw lots of employees working and got to meet quite a few of them as well, and had some brief conversations.
So look, I think that's about it for now. It's been incredible to have you here and to learn more about Huawei's amazing Seeds of the Future program. But before we go, what I'd love to do is to get a few words from each of you, basically about what advice you would give to the next cohort of Seeds of the Future. What's the one thing that you would tell them to help them make the most of this incredible experience? Marcus, let's start with you.
Just open your mind to any kind of possibilities. So for me, I think I really enjoyed sort of getting out a lot, trying new places, walking in the local areas, and sort of socializing with everybody who is a part of the program. There's so much to explore. China's such a large country, so that would be my biggest recommendation, and just to enjoy it, just to enjoy the experience that is being presented for you. So,
yeah, that's great. I think with all of these experiences, make the best of them while you've got them. What about you, Jess?
I think very similar to Marcus. I just make the most of every moment, except that you're probably not going to sleep as much as you need, just so you can get to experience as much as you can. So maybe even plan the main things that you do want to do when you're there, and then fit everything around it.
And Laurie, what about you?
Yeah, I definitely agree with everything Marcus and Jess have said. Make the most of the opportunity to network with all of these other amazing people, especially like you said, they're brilliant, diverse groups, and you never know where they'll be in the future. So
yeah, and I think that network's so powerful to have you, and especially because you all come from the same, I was going to say academic background, but you're all sort of science and technology. And I think, I guarantee you, if it's anything like my experience, you will bump into each other for the rest of your careers, which is a fantastic, and you'll be able to say, do you remember when back in 2016, 2019, whatever, we all did that amazing thing. So look, that's wonderful. Thank you again for giving us all your time and telling us more about your experience. And thank you too for the audience for joining us. Thanks, Jess. Thanks, Laurie. Thanks, Marcus. I've been Dave Coplin, and it's been my absolute pleasure to have you along for this exploration of Huawei's incredible Seeds of the Future program.